Welcome to my channel. I'm Razimus. I investigate ghosts, the paranormal, specifically ghosts. Spirits and ghosts, I'll use that term synonymously. Semantics, when it comes to words, a lot of people will disagree. So, that's not a ghost. That's not a spirit. That's not a poltergeist. Poltergeist, German for noisy ghost. I use that term to describe a spirit that has the ability to move objects. In 2010, I witnessed poltergeist activity to a minimal extent. And the next year, the following year, I moved into a room that was poltergeist haunted for 6 months. I have dozens of videos talking about it. Search my channel, check out my channel, youtube.com/hoaxhunter. I used to bust hoaxes. That was my hobby just for fun, specifically time travel hoaxes of all things. I proved John Titor is Maury Haber definitively when no one else could, because I looked at the information indirectly, and I've used the same strategy Sherlock Holmes would have used, I'm sure, in a Sir Arthur Conan Doyle book, to find evidence of spirits. You can't see them directly 99.999% of the time, which is why science doesn't accept they exist. But when you move into a poltergeist haunted room, and when I say poltergeist haunted room, they're like, something moved once? Because when I read other people's stories, oh, something disappeared and then it came back a week later. No. I lived in a violently oppressive, terrorizing, demonic poltergeist room with 2 demons that consistently every single night for 165 days consecutively knocked over 10 to 20 objects from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m., 5:30 p.m., 5:30 a.m., around that time frame. And it made me immune to an extent of the scary ghouls and ghosts in the night. 7 months ago was my last encounter in my room. An invisible person was walking around in my room, touching all my stuff. I could hear the footsteps, but I didn't notice them because I was, I believe, watching a movie on Netflix with my headphones. I took my headphones off, I looked, and I saw my wires being picked up on my desk and dropped. And that's the closest thing to levitation I've ever witnessed. But technically speaking, those wires were levitating. They dropped, and then they proceeded to hit against my metal desk, which made a very loud metal noise. And the entity that did that proceeded to step on the other wires on my floor. I don't keep wires on the floor and on my desk anymore. But if I have a messy room, it definitely is more inviting to these negative entities. What I did in that instance 7 months ago, I got up. I walked exactly where the footsteps were on the wires. Because not only could I hear it, but I could see depressions on the wires on the floor. But after I took my headphones off, I did watch for about a minute. And it was touching my stuff very slightly. Almost like browsing my room. Almost like a cat burglar would do at night. This is interesting. What has he got here? But it was a demonic, invisible spirit. But what happened when I saw it stepping on the wires? And maybe it browsed my room and then stepped on the wires, because it does take a little bit of time to process what's going on. Back in 2011, I would have been pretty scared to the point where I would have either told it to leave, only causing it to come back 1 hour later. That was the case in the room in 2011. But in my current room, in a different state, it's a different case. It's a residual thing. When spirits know you've had first-hand encounters with poltergeists, with demons, with spirits, on a very frequent you know they're there, they know you're there type level, they do reveal themselves a lot easier, making me a prime candidate for a ghost investigator. Back to the story. It steps on my wires on the floor after dropping the wires on my desk. Maybe I processed it for a minute, but I jumped up. I ran over to the exact spot where the wires were, where I believe the entity still was. And I said, hey, this is my room. And I talked very bluntly, very boldly, and very rudely, perhaps, but he was an invader invading my home. So you have a right to defend your home, even on a spiritual level, most definitely. And I said, this is my castle. You see these horrible items you're picking up and playing with? These are my items. I own everything in this room. It's a messy room, but it's my room. It's not yours. Get out of here. Don't make me break out any type of special means of really forcing you out of here. And the thing left. It left. I was going to invoke the name of God. I didn't have to. It saw my lack of fear. Back in 2011, I probably would have put the covers over my head or something for a couple hours. Who knows? I mean, in the early spaces of the haunting, which lasted 165 days in 2011, I did ignore it. Ignoring it was my meditative stance. Ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. And that is a concept that you can use. The more you ignore these entities, the more they will fade away, kind of like the Tinker Bell effect. In the Peter Pan Hook story, those that didn't believe in Tinker Bell caused her to fade away and disappear. It's a concept, it's an analogy that does work to an extent. The more you focus on something, you're feeding it energy and power. Don't do that. Don't use ghost investigation equipment, ghost hunting equipment in your room, in your house. Don't do it. Unless you want the place to be exorcised, I guess, and you need proof. So there are rare scenarios where it's warranted. In my case, in my room, I don't turn this stuff on anymore. I've thoroughly used the millimeter. You've watched hundreds of hours of footage of me walking around with the millimeter, and I know how the device works. It works, my version, with the REM pod feature. It's a sphere around the antenna. Anything that breaks that static field causes the antenna to be set off. And then the electromagnetic field detector is the main part of the EMF unit. It also has a 360-degree sphere, but instead of breaking it, it absorbs what's already in the atmosphere. And when you get an intelligent response, you know of a surety that's a ghost, that's a spirit. It's nice to get a voice and further confirmations, EVPs and whatnot. But sometimes those voices can freak you out. But in my case, we're talking 49 times out of 50 tries, I will not get a voice. Yet, some ghost teams, they get a voice almost every time. Perhaps they don't get as many EMF or static field being broken on their devices. So every ghost investigator has his strengths and weaknesses. But I do come across people criticizing me, saying, oh, that's not how you use it. They've never owned the device in their life. Get the device or don't get the device. I'm not selling anything on this channel. 0 things are for sale. I do have a Teespring that supports this channel's existence. I'm going to probably delete all the designs and redesign something new. It's something YouTubers do. We have Teesprings to help support the channel. I do plan on having a giveaway at 10,000 subscribers. We're almost there. Very low interaction, though. Very low interaction when it comes to people sharing my videos, except for few and far. The Demon Poltergeist Haunting, Attributes of Demons, those 2 documentaries I did, they must have got shared on Facebook or somewhere. Someone shared them to a great extent, and they have reached 50,000, 100,000 views. A lot of views. And then another video I'll work on for 6 months. Plan and strategize, and I'll drive 1,000 miles. That video will get 99 views. So there's definitely not an equal distribution of where the views should be going. Just check out my channel, check out my videos, be blunt, be honest. But a lot of people anonymously like to, that's horrible. And then I go check out their channel and they don't have any content at all. I don't like to be critical, I like to be positive. Matter of fact, the only thing that got me through the 2011 Poltergeist room, which lasted for 6 months, was positive thinking. I read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. I didn't use it for money. I used it for the positive mindset, inspiring chapters in that book. Napoleon Hill says you can magnetize your mind and crystallize your mind toward positivity. It's kind of a perpetual motion. It's kind of a body in motion stays in motion type thing. A mind in positive thought stays in positive thought. And I practice that, just thinking good things about my fellow man, my fellow woman, animals, the environment. I just thought positive thoughts about everything. Like, I'm so lucky to have shelter, have food, have a job, and have gas in my car tank. I was very positive for easily 3 months out of the 6 months. Maybe the other 3 months I was just curious, like wondering, why me? And I'm sure a lot of people say the why me thing, but when you're poltergeist haunted on an extreme level for 6 months, it's more of a why me. It's a, why did the universe think that I was strong enough to withstand this? But apparently the universe did think that. And, you know, someone like Zach Bagans, he has spent probably millions of dollars on haunted objects. No one does that unless they know haunted objects exist. So there's another level how you can find out whether someone's telling the truth or not. Whether you believe the evidence on ghost adventures or not, I personally think the evidence is real. Does drama take effect? Most definitely. Are there spooky sound effects and music? Most definitely. You got to make it entertaining, but behind the entertainment there is a level of truth. I've purchased the same equipment the Ghost Investigators crew have purchased. I've used it. I've walked around with it for hundreds of hours. It works. It's real. It's not fake. But a way you can tell whether someone's telling the truth or not. I gave an interview on Blackout with Us.com, I believe, episode number 069, with a very talented host, Samantha Scarlett, I believe her name is. And check that out. I talk about Art Bell. I talk about busting Maury Haber as John Teeter. I talk about ghosts a little bit. I have countless stories of ghost encounters. Only after the 2011 or 2010 incident. Before then, I think back. And I did have one knock in the closet and lights turning off incident at a open house that my real estate mom was preparing to show. And it was empty, and she asked me to turn off the lights. And the lights all turned back on after I turned them off, But the more significant thing in that house, which was probably up for sale because the owners didn't want to live in a haunted house, is the knock. It sounded like a human hand knocking a good 30 times in the closet. I opened the closet up, there was nothing there. I walked around the house, there were no shutters banging against the house. There was no tree branch banging against the house. In my mind, I was like, there has to be a tree branch banging against the house. There was nothing there. And the lights turning off confirmed to me he was definitely a ghost. He wanted to get my attention, but what's creepy is I was using the restroom when the knock started. It was like peeping on me. But ghosts have seen 1,000, if not 1,000,000 humans come and go through all phases of their life, and they've always been here. They'll always be in the higher dimension, slightly above us, so you really don't need to be scared of them, despite how creepy it sounds, them watching you in the shower or something like that. It happens, I'm sure. There are some horrible stories, worse than mine, concerning spirit attacks. I consider spiritualism the belief in spirits. And sure, it can be belief in faith. It can be belief in a deity, most definitely. But cutting out a belief in spirits, from my perspective, cuts spirit out of spirituality. And it's no longer spirituality. I don't have a monopoly of spirituality. Everyone can be spiritual in their own way. But spirituality is all about spirits. That's my personal belief. Try to be respectful of your fellow human being. Everyone is in this fight individually, but we're all in the same fight together at the same time. The light is fading, the light's going away. I liked these cloudy clouds. Let's get a better shot of these clouds over here. Yeah. Pretty cool clouds in the distance. Nice overcast day. I wish there was more light. Overcast is the perfect time to film because the lighting is perfect. The reflection of the sun off the clouds gives for a really vivid, nice, cinematic look. But stay tuned, more episodes coming soon. I plan on traveling the world to an extent. I don't get paid much. I get paid very little. So why do I do this? I've purchased $2,000 in ghost investigation equipment and $2,000 in occult books. I'm not an occultist. I don't practice magic. I never have. I can say with a clear conscience, I've never practiced anything magical other than when I was a kid for a few years there, I guess. I was into illusion, stage magic. And I bought a couple tricks, very expensive. Probably the price alone put me off when I saw the big box trick cost thousands of dollars. I'm like, it's too much of a commitment. Yet, I've spent $4,000 on investigating what happened to me in 2011, 2010, and residually the years after. I have found a good amount of stories, 500 years old, 1,000 years old, in some old occult books, maybe 50 years old, 100 years old, 200 years old, of other people having similar experiences, but other people having insights I've never heard of, insights that did help me. And I am writing a book, Corners of Rooms. So I've been talking about the book for years. And I occasionally get the comment, oh, you're selling something? Don't check out my Teespring and support this channel if you don't want to. I can confirm 5 good people have purchased t-shirts back with my old design. I made a new design. I might take it down. Tweet me, @Razimus, if you want a different design. I'm always trying to think of something that's interesting that I would wear. I bought my own shirts, but I want to make the logo and design it more interesting. But the ghost investigation equipment, $2,000 worth, I'm pretty much done. It exceeded what I wanted to hit. I was willing to spend $100, and I went up to $2,000. That's a lot. It's a lot of money. I'm in debt. I haven't even paid off all my ghost investigation equipment yet, but I have paid off the $2,000 of occult books, and I will bring back book reviews. Knowledge is neutral, and the information is neutral. Check them out. My book reviews coming in the future. I don't have time to read a book and thoroughly process it like an album reviewer would do. You listen to a record for 1 hour, you can review it pretty thoroughly. A book, I have to really spend sometimes 3 months on it, digesting it. I have some books that are 500 plus pages. It's going to take me 6 months to thoroughly even have it ready for a book review, but I will in the future. I've talked about I have the ability to detect when ghosts walk through me, the energy. So I have a different means of detecting spirits. I think it's unique. Other people might say they have it too, but I have it to an extreme degree. I've talked about when I was electrocuted when I was 4 years old in that electrocution origin story video. I'd be happy to join a professional ghost investigation crew. I know of a surety. I have the tools, I have the equipment, I have the know-how, I have the experience, the field experience, getting out there and actually interacting with spirits to the extent where you don't want them following you home, but you know they're there, they know you're there. And I can definitely investigate someone's house on a professional level. I've never done that. To this point, I do street investigations because when you're starting out, that's all you can do. But stay tuned. More episodes coming soon. It's getting dark. I'm John Razimus. Subscribe to this channel. Click the bell for notifications. If you don't click that bell, you won't be notified. I'm going to try to find a way to allow people to subscribe another way because people are not notified. You pretty much have to bookmark youtube.com/hoaxhunter and just check my uploads. Check the uploads page. I've recently remastered my comedy store, Ghost Investigation, where I spent 3 days and 3 nights, drove over 1,000 miles to and from, and it received such low views. It was a morale diminisher. But that's the algorithm. I understand that's the algorithm. Didn't like keywords. The algorithm didn't like something about the video. I own all the content of all my videos. I use my own personal stock footage. I shoot myself. I use my own music. I compose myself. And when you're a tiny YouTuber, the algorithm doesn't like you. Doesn't like you. Or sometimes it does like you. People like you when you're up and you have thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. And then when you're down, people don't like you anymore. And I've always been a fan of the underdog. If you're an underdog and you have a similar channel to mine and you want to collaborate, Freethinker Silver collaborated, and he submitted a video. That is all his content, but he wanted to share it. And there might be future collaborations in the future. He's in Canada, a different country. If you're in the same state or a different country, it doesn't matter. I'm in the southwest of the United States. I never say my exact location because I go between Arizona and California so often that the border doesn't even exist to me, which is a problem with the DMV and the MVD. But stay tuned, more episodes coming soon. I just wanted to make a welcome video for this channel. I'm not a fake. I don't fake anything. So if you want authentic content from a truth teller that doesn't use the word truth in any oppressive way, doesn't use the word truth on any high horse way, you have the truth. I have some truth. The truth is not monopolized by one group or organization. So don't ever let someone tell you, oh, we got the truth, you don't got it. Because that's not how it works. Truth is all over the place. It is currently 5:47. I didn't bring any ghost investigation equipment with me because I just want to make this promo video. And it's excessively long. It goes on for a long time. But you know what? It is what it is. Be seeing you.